absolutely no secret that the highlight of any sort of Disney park trip, or one of them anyway, is the characters you get to meet in the parks. Of course, these range from some of the most popular franchise characters in all of Disney's history, of course ranging from Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, Disney, and introducing more and more characters on a daily basis, with iconic characters such as Mickey and Friends being the forefront of the parks since they opened. Running all the way to more recent characters, of course, as a way to promote new films coming out, TV shows, and of course with the sort of new additions of Disney Plus, that seems to be an endless stream of content. However, the vast majority of visitors have no idea just how rare some of the characters can be. Certain characters are very, very rare to see in the parks. Some have only appeared a small amount of times, where of course others meet on a daily basis. Characters that used to be rare are now not, and characters that weren't rare now really are. Of course, this is all built around how the public see a certain film. Of course, if a film is 50, 60 odd years old and it's not getting the attention in the modern day society anymore, they aren't going to put the characters in the parks, which sometimes can be a real shame. I've met some pretty iconic characters over the years throughout my time going to Disney as a child, and of course growing up and going to the Disney parks now as well. However, a lot of these guys just don't do it anymore. They're occasional appearances, and trust me, there are some that even I wish that I could see every single day. And for us Disney fanatics and us park enthusiasts, a rare character pop-up is for sure to make our holiday. Hi, my name is Luis. I'm a filmmaker specializing in animation, and I love all things Disney, parks, animation, and just films in general. So if you do like that sort of stuff, consider hitting the like and subscribe button, especially if you like today's video. We've got a goal of 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2024, and we are just over 100 subscribers away by the time this video is releasing. So crossing fingers we can hit that goal. We've got just over 30 days left to do it, or 30 days as of this video. So make it a nice Christmas present for myself. And of course, you can unsubscribe at any time. It's free. If you don't like this content, you don't have to come back, but do stick around for the rest of this video. Of course, parades and meet and greets and the Disney characters in general are one of the highlights of everybody's trips. Of course, the rides are a huge part, but to be honest, there's a huge chunk of people who go to the parks specifically just to see the characters and just to be in and around the theming. Parades is a big thing as well. Whether it's your first parade, or whether at the point you can sing and dance to every single parade on every different park around the world. Parades have been very well known for offering some of the most memorable, extravagant, and in this video's case, rare Disney characters ever seen in the parks. And in today's video, we count down 5 of my favourite rarest trios to see in the Disney parks. Up first, we're taking it back to 2007, the Disney animated feature film Meet the Robinsons. And to be honest, it's incredibly criminally underrated, okay? This film is really, really good. From the story, to the characters, to the world building, to the design, Meet the Robinsons was so ahead of its time for 2007. Even the Easter eggs in the film are just absolutely fantastic, and I can't believe it's not a more beloved classic. But then again, I guess it did come out in the early days of 3D animation, especially for Disney themselves. The characters were a huge part of this film, however. And of course, they helped drive the film, but they were also a loved part of the mid-2000s in the studio parks. Wilbur, Lewis, and the bowler hat guy were a common set of characters to see around the 2007 period, and they first debuted in 2007 for the Magic of Disney Animation in the Animation Courtyard. This meet and greet was very popular. It took place over in Disney Hollywood Studios and also over in the Paris park as well, and I was actually lucky enough to meet all 3 of these characters actually on different occasions throughout my trips as a child to the Disney park. So I was really glad and happy that I got to see these characters while they were in rotation. And of course, as I say, it's been a bit of a while. Obviously, we're approaching that 20-year mark now since the film. Well, unfortunately, this film did not do as well as initially predicted, despite the love from some of us closer Disney fans. So in 2008, the meet and greet was actually replaced with Emile and Remy, of course, from Ratatouille. The meet and greet moved over to just outside Toon Studios at Disneyland Paris, which is roughly when I would have met them. And just to give you an idea, that is roughly now where the Pixar meet and greet is, / the Friends of Woody, Jesse, Buzz, just outside Crush's Coaster. But unfortunately, as time went on, they became less and less frequent, moving themselves to specific events, such as the 2012 Halloween event and the 2013 Disney Dreamers event. 2014, however, was a pretty good year for Florida, as they had a 24-hour-long event with meet and greets and everything you can imagine as a Disney Parks fan, to which some utterly amazing characters were seen during the event, with the bowler hat guy taking stage in Tomorrowland, and we saw some other characters during that event which were super, super rare. The same year that the bowler hat guy actually appeared in that Tomorrowland show, for the 24-hour event, he also appeared in the Villains Unleashed show, with 50 other villains, which included some weird and wacky ones that we've never seen costumed before, and of course some that we haven't seen costumed since. What a show. I wish they can do it again. We do get the occasional pop-up here and there. It does tend to be just the bowler hat guy, and they tend to be at things like the Oogie Boogie Bash special events, but it's really not too often. The only thing I've really seen them remotely do with the movie in the last couple of years is when I picked up this pin at the Disney store in London earlier this year, and to be honest with you, this pin is really, really cool. I really like it. The subtle details, it looks amazing. Another criminally underrated 2000s film from the Walt Disney Animation Studios is, of course, Bolt, an action comedy starring John Travolta as a dog. Now, for a lot of people, that was actually a bit of a downside, but for me, I actually think I didn't really pay attention to that. To be honest, I was more focused on the fact that Miley Cyrus, or Hannah Montana, was playing Penny. But in my opinion, it's a super fun film. It's a good watch, and especially one just to throw on as well in the background. I mean, who doesn't want an action-packed animated feature about a dog who thinks that he's a superhero, but then once he's lost and found in the real world, realizes that actually he is nothing but a mere actor? Comedy gold, right? Unfortunately, though, another flop in the grand scheme of Disney's sort of general animation. And to be fair, it did seem like the mid-2000s was a lower point for Disney. Of course, they were experimenting with that 3D animation style. You had Chicken Little, Meet the Robinsons, Bolt, amongst others. Of course, they did have the success of Tangled coming off the back of that as well, so really it did make up for that. Of course, Princess and the Frog as well, especially amongst the raving success of Pixar. This is, of course, when Pixar CEO John Lasseter also started working as the head of animation at Disney as well. However, our lead three, Bolt, Mittens, and Rhino, did make a few parks appearances around 2008, where you could actually meet them as a trio. However, unfortunately, they did stop regularly meeting pretty quickly as well. Rhino became a very rare occurrence. He was even scrapped from the 2008 Fantasy Christmas Parade, which I don't really know why, but they then just literally solely focused on Mittens and Bolt. After this though, Mittens then met the exact same fate as Rhino, because we literally didn't see her again. She's appeared at a few different events over the years, including a fan event where she appeared alongside Bolt, and of course for parades, meet and greets, things like that at special events throughout the years too, which is actually the same event we saw the Meet Robinsons crew. Bolt has then since appeared numerous times by himself, and he occasionally meets over in Epcot, over at the American Adventure or the Millennium Village. So over in Epcot in Florida, you can occasionally catch Bolt there, so be free to check him out just in case he does make a surprise appearance. He does also appear in the odd show from now and then, such as 2013's Dog Days of Summer, of course appearing alongside people like Pluto, Doug from Up, and Stitch, because of course he's classified as a dog. But since then, he has been very rarely seen. As I say, mainly at the exclusive events, so if that doesn't convince you to become an annual pass holder, D23 member, spend more money, I don't really know what will. To be honest, if you're wanting a Bolt fix in the Disney parks in the modern day and time, you're best looking for merch, because to be honest, they've got those giant big plushies at the moment with the giant big feet, and of course Bolt's just been part of that line as well. Other than that, we've really not seen Bolt too much over the last couple of years, which is a shame. It's still a fun film. Up next is by far one of the craziest, kookiest films in the entire of the Disney animation roster, and it belongs to the wonderful Kuzco, Kronk, and Yzma.
Ha! Boom, baby!
Of course, Kronk being somewhat a good guy and a bad guy, Kuzco being a fun and somewhat likable and hateable character, and Yzma just being an icon throughout. But of course, we got The Emperor's New Groove in 2000, and then we got Kronk's New Groove in 2005, a sequel to that original film as well. And then we did also have a Disney XD TV show in 2006, but the trio are still a pretty popular one to this day. Obviously, the cast in itself was absolutely fantastic, and the comedy and overall animation of the film is really impressive, especially for 2000. Kronk, more specifically, has definitely become a bit of a pop culture icon, from memes to quotes to the incredible begging behind the whole pull the lever Kronk ride that could be coming to the Villains Land in the future. I hope that they use some sort of reference to that if they don't make a ride on it. But of course, people have been joking and asking for that for quite a while now. Of course, it's a missed opportunity from Disney if they don't.
Pull the lever, Kronk. Wrong lever!
Huh?
Why do we even have that lever?
By far, one of the funniest sets of Disney characters. They work really, really well together. And of course, gotta shed some light, share some love for Pacha as well, because he's great, John Goodman. Of course, the first film does actually focus on Kuzco, the sort of emperor of the area. Of course, he turns into a llama because, you know, Yzma tries to kill him, Kronk messes it up, and instead he transforms into a llama. And we actually have seen the llama version of Kuzco a few times at the Disney parks before, which was during the Disney Dreamers show. We saw a few other Disney characters trying to help him turn back into his emperor self.
Yay, I'm a llama again! Wait.
And the emperor self of Kuzco, the sort of Kuzco we know and love from the films, Yzma and also Kronk himself were all actually available for a photo opportunity at one point in time, where you'd go into Kuzco's throne room and you'd take a photo with the trio. So it would have been a pretty good one. However, now the trio very rarely appear, especially Kuzco himself. The llama Kuzco has not been seen since the Disney Dreamers show. We've not seen the human version of Kuzco since that sort of meet and greet area as well. Kronk has been seen every now and then, especially as a sort of supporting actor in the villains parades and things like that, Oogie Boogie Bash. But then again, can you class him as a villain? He was just a slightly misled man, bless him. And of course, Yzma has been seen at those Oogie Boogie Bashes and things like that over the last couple years. But the weird thing for me that I find about Yzma and Kronk is that they actually appeared on the Disney cruise lines, but as face characters. I don't know why they didn't just like reuse the costumed versions of these, because in my opinion they look far, far better, and the Disney Cruise Lines of course have a lot less space, especially when you do have the Mickey and Friends gang wandering around with other people in obviously Toy Story and stuff like that as well. There's obviously so much room you can have. But if you've made a stage show, you may as well commit to the costumes, because they look weird. I would like to see the return of Kronk's New Groove or Emperor's New Groove in some way, shape or form, even just for a fun Christmas special. Of course, we have already passed the 20-year mark of the Emperor's New Groove, but we are approaching next year Kronk's New Groove's 20th anniversary. So if we did like a Christmas special, Halloween, something like that, it could be fun just to shed some light on it again, because they do seem to still be pretty popular characters. However, not necessarily in the parks, again, more exclusively seen. However, merchandise-wise, Funko tend to be making an awful lot of this sort of Emperor's New, Kronk's New Groove merch. However, a lot of it does seem to be Comic-Con exclusives or convention exclusives. Obviously, you've got D23, San Diego Comic-Con, things like that we've seen over the last couple of years, which, to be fair, it's a pretty good collection, and I've got a few of them anyway. Over the last few days, as of recording this video, Disney have then given us a first look at the live-action Lilo and Stitch film, and let's just say it looks really good. It was going to be very, very easy for them to absolutely butcher the character design of Stitch, but I think they have absolutely smashed it. And I'm not allowed to say a huge much more about it because of legal reasons, working for the company at the time of them making on it, but it looks really, really good. Of course, Stitch is no stranger to the Disney parks. To be honest, he's more of a mascot at this point than Mickey is. And those familiar with the online YouTube space, you will know just how popular and unpopular, in people like Catherine's point of view, they absolutely hate seeing Stitch so much in the parks, because wherever you turn, there is some sort of Stitch merch. Now, I quite like the character. I do agree that he's not been utilized in the correct way, and it is weird that there is just an uncopious amount of Stitch merch. And of course, Stitch himself is not a rare character. He does meet and greets in pretty much every one of the parks, bar the exception of Paris at the moment due to renovations. And seeing as nothing has been made from the Lilo and Stitch brand for the last 10 years, how is he still so popular? If you go into any shop that sells any type of toys or homeware or apparel that could be remotely aimed at Disney adults or Disney children, something Stitch will be there. And that's the same for the parks. Of course, as I say, he's a beloved one for everyone to go take photos with. I've actually seen some really cool, rarer versions of Stitch over the years. We've seen him as Elvis, which I would have absolutely loved. Of course, an iconic costume that he dons in the film series as well. And we've also seen him wear other costumes as well, such as his superhero kit and things like that too. But as I say, Stitch is a pretty regular character to meet. His friends, however, aren't. Lilo has been very well known to appear alongside Stitch, of course, rather fitting. And she was mainly more prominent in the 2000s, when the films were coming out, the TV show, things like that as well. She tended to be more prominent, especially around Epcot and the Floridian parks. And she's not been seen to great lengths for a very long time. The only time recently that she has been seen for a sort of main big event is the Disney Channel night that was hosted this year, which I'm gutted that I didn't get to see, because as we'll find out by the next entry in this list, there were some pretty cool characters there as well. She's categorized as a rare character anyway. Stitch's love interest, 624, or better known as Angel, of course the pink version of Stitch, a classic character to see in the parks as well in terms of merch, but when it comes to actually meeting her character, that's a little bit more of a difficult one. Now, she has been seen on the very rare occasion at the US parks. She is known to be a very rare character in those parks. However, she does often meet at Disneyland Tokyo, Disneyland Tokyo Sea as well, and other parks like Paris. However, things like Paris tend to be for special events. It's like your Valentine's event, you had your anniversaries, things like that as well. And as I say, the Disney Channel night as well, she did appear for that. But the thing for Angel, the thing that really makes her a difficult character to see is the meet and greet section. If you get to meet Angel, consider yourself lucky, because the amount of meet and greets for her are very, very minimal, especially outside of these special events and things like that for annual pass holders and all that as well. We might see the return of all the characters for the Lilo and Stitch live action, but of course, Angel isn't in the first Lilo and Stitch, so I don't really think she's going to be showing up at any premieres or anything like that. Stitch, he's inevitably going to be there. Fan favourite and my favourite, Leroy as well. Also been at the park on a few occasions. As I say, just with Angel, he is a very big person in terms of merchandising. We have a shoulder pal of him, Angel and Stitch at the moment in the parks. And somewhere down here is my version of Leroy. Side note, go watch Leroy and Stitch if you haven't, because it's criminally underrated, very satisfying, and I like the introduction of all the different experiments they collect over the series of the TV show. It's pretty cool. He's sick. He's not seen on a regular basis at all, but we have seen him a few times. I wish that we can see him again. And of course, alongside Leroy, we have seen other experiments as well, again, at this Disney Channel night this year as well, over the last couple of years too, including Reuben, of course, the beloved one that just eats loads of sandwiches. I would love to have seen him in the flesh. He would have been sick. But hopefully, as I say, we can see a few of these characters coming out again to sort of celebrate the release of the live action. And we will hopefully see them wandering around the parks again, mainly for the younger audiences, because again, like I say, Stitch has been in the parks as a prominent figure, but no one's actually known who on earth he is. So if we can get the younger audiences again back into Lilo and Stitch the same way we grew up with it. I mean, I literally grew up with Lilo and Stitch, bearing in mind I'm born in 2002. Last up today, of course, is one of the most iconic Disney Channel TV shows of all time. I'm of course talking about Phineas and Ferb.
Mom! Phineas and Ferb are making a title sequence!
Following the adventures of two brothers that decide what on earth they're going to do throughout their endlessly long summer vacation, they've got some pretty cool characters to have met over the years, and they have had some inclusions over the parks. Of course, most of you watching this, I hope, would have seen Phineas and Ferb in some way, shape or form. And I'm super excited that a new season is coming due 2025. We'll hopefully see what happens with them. So again, hopefully these characters return to the parks for promotional content. Again, especially very similar to how Lilo and Stitch, how I was just talking about that. Of course, the younger audiences don't know what Phineas and Ferb is. And of course, if it's coming onto Disney Plus and things like that, they're going to want to push it in the correct ways. So I definitely think Phineas, Ferb, and maybe even Perry are going to be doing a little bit more sort of pop-ups here and there around the parks, which I'm super duper excited for. And of course, Dr. Doofenshmirtz was seen very recently as well at this year's Oogie Boogie Bash. He was weirdly a face character though, which I'm not sure worked too well. I think he should have been a costumed character. I don't think it worked too well as a face, but it was fun nonetheless. And of course, he is going to be returning in the new season as well, voiced by Dan Povenmire, the series creator, which is pretty fun. I met him at D23. He's a really cool guy. But Phineas and Ferb have been amazing characters to see pop up here and there. For me, they're like those fun little uncles that pop out of nowhere and you have a great time with them. Similar with Disney Infinity, things like that as well. They're great additions to the game, but they're not necessarily a forefront of every single thing. First appearing in 2009 for the Christmas Party Parade, and then again in 2011 where they started a regular meet and greet over in California Adventure. They also then popped up around Disney Hollywood Studios around that time, and that meet and greet ran into about 2016. Obviously, alongside that, they've done multiple different events such as D23. They did the 2013 and 2015 premieres for their different films. Of course, in 2015, they did a Marvel collaboration with Phineas and Ferb, which is a very fun film you can find on Disney Plus. And then, of course, they had their 3D Dimensions film, which is also a fun one you can also find on Disney Plus. The boys were even included on cruises from 2012 to 2015. This meaning that since then, they've been a very, very much a rare occurrence, and special events, things like that as well. Mainly special fan events. Of course, again, the Disney Channel night we did see them at. They actually appeared alongside Perry, the platypus, of course, their iconic pet / spy. But they did also pop up in Paris in 2018 and this past February. So I'm gutted that I missed it in February, but hopefully they're going to be around a little bit more often, as I say, especially with the new season coming out. And they were very well received. They seemed a very, very popular popular set of characters amongst all of the Disney fans. Briefly touching on Perry as well, I absolutely love Perry the Platypus as a character. I think he is fantastic, but he is a much, much rarer one in the parks. He is one of those sort of characters that you do just want to go give a big hug because the entire costume looks so, so cool. But he is a much, much rarer character than the brothers themselves. And of course, Dr. D, we'll see how often he appears, whether he comes back for next year's Oogie Boogie Bash. But of course, as I say, he's nothing compared to the boys, which is a shame because hopefully Perry will be coming back. And again, for the premiere, things like that, we'll see obviously when the new Phineas and Ferb season does officially drop, whether it's going to be 2025 or 2026. So we're going to be seeing the announcement of Phineas and Ferb trailers, maybe the release date around that time as well, with Dan Povenmire hitting the stage with Swampy, Jeff Marsh, and of course the entire voice cast, including Ashley Tisdale coming back as Candace. Are we going to see obviously Phineas, Ferb, and Perry come out onto the stage and deliver that speech alongside Dr. Doofenshmirtz himself? It would be pretty cool to see. But yeah, that's it. 5 trios that are rather rare in the Disney parks, and some that I really want to see or see again in some cases. If you guys did like this video, please let me know. Firstly, have you met any of these characters, or would you want to meet any of these characters? If so, which one would you want to meet more than any others? And if you guys did like this video, please hit that like and subscribe button. As I say, 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year is my goal, and I would love to make more videos like this one on the channel. So if you do like this sort of content, let me know which type of characters would you like to see in the description down below. I can break them down into parks, I can break them down into categories. It would be amazing to do more videos like this one. But until next week, I will see you next Sunday. So stay safe. Peace.